Hello and welcome. My name is Odin, and we are going to start off with some designing in the page builder. You might remember during the essential path that we created a homepage, or you are looking at this application template and you're looking at the homepage and you're thinking, that is a homepage. For my personal opinion is that homepage can be a little prettier, and we can do so by looking a little further in depth into the styling options that the page builder components has to offer. So let's dive into a little bit of UI UXing with the page builder to create a more advanced looking and feeling homepage. Let's get started. So this is part one of a 3-video tutorial. In the first part, we are going to look into creating the layout of our new homepage. In the second part, we're going to look into some more advanced details of using a hero banner. And in the last video, we are going to dive into getting the cards that we have currently put on the middle of our page over here into a neat looking homepage. So first things first, we're going to dive into creating a layout for our new homepage. Well, the current layout is, as you can see, we have a header on top, we got a welcome message, and we got the cards in the middle, some contact information, and a footer. I still want to keep this sort of layout, like something on top, information in the middle, and the footer at the bottom. But we're going to make that look a little more neat. However, we do want to do that in a safe environment, a safe page, meaning that I'm not going to drag around in this page, because that would simply be a bummer. If I were to mess something up, then I would like to have that in a page that I can just, delete after and recreate if I have to. So to get started, we're going to create a new page, and often I would use the basic header and footer page, or maybe let's say the back of, or any of the templates that we have optional, because it's nice to have something pre-created for you. But because I want to dive into as many details as possible from certain components, I am going to start from scratch, and I'm going to call this homepage design. For now, this is going to be the homepage design page. But once we like the homepage that we have created, I can simply say, remove the other homepage or rename it and name this one to the home page. We can rename it whatever we want. The homepage, I would always like to be a public page in this scenario. And then we're going to create the page, and this is where we are going to start. So first things first, because I would like to be able to align a bunch of stuff in the page that we have right here, I am going to make sure that we can drag and drop and place everything we have in our page by dragging a column into the page. I'm going to put this on alignment, vertical alignment, top, because I want everything that I'm going to drag into this column to align basically from top to bottom. And we're going to take the styling off so that the inner space is gone. Then we're going to set the height to 100%. Let's have a look. Oh, my bad. That's not the height of the column. It is the height of the row. And this is also, I'm just going to click around a little bit sometimes, like you're figuring out while you're clicking along. The row needs to be the full width. So the row above the column needs to be the full width. And I'm doing that because I want this column to cover the entire page, as I meant. So row, full width, and also full height. We're leaving the background color transparent, outer spacing, none. The column also no outer spacing, no inner spacing, and vertical alignment to the top. Meaning that if we were to create, let's say, a header, some items in the middle, and a footer, that the way we would place everything right now, it would all just neatly line up over at the top of our page. So we're gonna drag a box component in, because the box component allows us to put a little more practice into aligning and styling our components. The columns are mainly used for spacing and viewports, meaning that a column is the best practice to use for designing your page around mobile views or tablet views or on your laptop screen. But for boxes, we're using boxes to basically make sure that our header sticks in the middle of our page, our welcome text is a little bit off to the right because we like that. And that's the freedom that a box will give us. So I'm going to grab the box. I am going to take off the inner spacing so that it also takes up the full width. And then I am going to duplicate this 3 times. Well, and basically this is already, it might not look like it, but this is the footer. This is going to be our middle segment, and this is going to be a part of our header. Just click along because I hope that we'll get to it while we work on it. So to get a little bit of a better overview while we're doing this, I'm also going to use the component tree on the right-hand side. It might be that the component tree is still on the left-hand side for you. You can look into that by clicking on the component tree and then clicking on that little nice door frame pointing to the right, and then you have the component tree over on the right-hand side. It's very nice to just have a clear overview, and if you just want it to be folded in, there you go, press the arrow, and then you have a better, bigger overview of your page. So showing the component tree, well, the bottom box is going to be the footer, so I'm also going to be renaming this so that within the component tree, I know that this is the footer. I do need to save this, of course. Press enter, and there we go. We got the footer. So now, the middle box, I want to basically stretch up so that it takes the entire width of the page and pushes the footer box that we have all the way to the bottom of the page. And we can do that by saying stretch when in flex container, aka it is going to completely fill up the page. So whatever your viewport is, this box will stretch to whatever is available, and the footer will always be at the bottom. And now we can play around with whatever is inside this box, and we'll use the width of your page. As I mentioned, the the middle box now stretches to the entire page, and everything aligns from top to bottom. So it goes basically everything you place in the page will first be placed over here, then everything placed underneath will neatly align. Therefore, we can put our header box in the top of our middle box, and well, this might look a little odd because we now do not see the box underneath, but as you can see, if I hover over the component tree, the box underneath is still there, but we are going to define the header within this box. And the reason we're going to define it within this box is so that everything we want to define as our header stays within this box, but adheres to everything we put inside the bigger box. So this is going to be our header box. I'm also going to rename that to hero header. And I'm going to explain what hero header is a little later. Well, I can also do that right now. A hero image is basically, a hero header is when you have items within your header overlapping each other, and you have an image that crosses the entire header segment and maybe aligns with the items that you have in the middle of your page. It might not make too much sense right now, but we're gonna build into it. So let's do that. So within this box, we're gonna drag one box, and I am going to explain how we're going to style up that header from here. So I want that header to be roughly 30% of the size of the viewport that we have in front of us. So maybe someone's looking at their mobile phone or at a monitor or at a gigantic screen. I want that header to take up 30% of the screen. And we can do that by putting in a height 30 VH, and VH is viewport height. As you can see, it immediately popped down to roughly 30% of what my viewport height is. But if we only do this to one box, then if we want any overlapping elements within our header to make it look very cool, then we have to drag in boxes all over our, well, header box again. But we've already defined our header box. So let's put this box here to 10% view height and then duplicate that 3 times. I'm duplicating it because it's a little easier. And look at me go. Before you duplicate, I hope you're listening to me and not doing this immediately. I need to take off the inner spacing from this main box, and then I'm duplicating it. Otherwise, I would be removing the inner spacing 3 times. Not something that is a big deal, but you know, it helps if you prepare one component that you know you're going to duplicate and just leave it as it is. All right. Our top box is just going to be without any of the view height space. So let's have a look. Then we have the box, yes. So the end goal of where we're working towards, and we're going to do that in the next video, is this is going to be the box that is going to have like a nice welcome image. This is a box, and this is a box that we're going to use for a little bit of alignment so that there's some spacing between the welcome text and our actual header. So to drag in our actual header, let's grab one column and put that in the top box. So let's see. Yeah, well, it seems like we could do this the way it currently is. No, we're going to remove the column inner spacing. That is something that I do always want to do. So column, alignment, styling, I mean, inner spacing removed. There we go. And now I'm going to look for the app bar, or the navigation bar as it's called. It has multiple names. And we are going to drag that in our top of the page tree. And maybe if I unfold this, you can see that for some screen sizes, it will have these white spots to the left and to the right of the app bar. That's okay. We're going to get rid of that later. But this is the beginning of our layout. So let's have a look at that. Let's change the app bar to what we want. Instead of having, well, the app bar, just say the app bar, I have a nice image. I've inserted that in my public files, and it is the Betty White logo. There we go. We can remove the title. So in your case, make sure that you look into getting an image that represents your logo or whatever you want to use for your application, and insert that into the tool section public files, and you can select that when you click media type image and then select that in the logo option. A best practice for the logo that you have within your app bar, make sure for a nice resolution and for it to look a little sharp and not lose any jaggedy edges, make sure that the logo width is half of what the actual image is. So by chance, I know that the actual image is roughly 320-ish. So the logo width should be 164 for me. If you upload a logo that has a width of roughly 300 pixels, make sure that you put the logo width to 150. This way it'll look more sharp on your page. That's pretty nice. And we're going to set the URL of the page, of the image, to the new homepage that we are creating, homepage design. So that when people click on the logo, they will be taken to your homepage, which is a very, or it's getting more and more intuitive for a lot of people to click on that top left logo or image that you're using and be like, okay, this is probably navigating me to the homepage. Now you can see that we have the bluish outline over here, but we want our header eventually to have the same color or background. Well, we're gonna get there eventually, but for now, what we can do is we can click on this box and go to the parent box, and we can just give this background color. We can set this to primary. And now, voila, the immediate background of everything that is behind these boxes will be a nice tint of our primary blue. In your case, if you've changed it in the team builder, it might look a little different, but it will align with the app bar. And to make sure that the app bar actually shows what we want, we're gonna put the background color of the app bar to transparent, so that whatever you put behind the app bar is going to be transparent. And trust me, for your case, you would also want to put the background color to transparent. So we have set the initial layout. The box is set to the color, the primary color. The last thing I want to do in finishing the subtle navigation bar for our hero header landing page is I want to add a couple more buttons, and they need to align with whatever we have in our actual homepage. So let's have a look at the homepage. I want a button to go to projects, I want a button to go to tasks, I want a button to go to my account, and a logout button. The back office button will move to the account side of things later on. So let's go to the homepage design, and let's change this one button. Let's have a look at the style. I think that these can be nicely rounded buttons, and we're not going to do any background. So we're going to remove the A. We're going to turn that to 0 so that the buttons are just a white text over our background. If your background is going to be white, make sure that it's some contrasty text that allows you to read whatever you have. I'm also going to add this as a new style. So these are menu, navigation menu button. I'm going to save that so that every time I update one of these buttons, I can put that into the rest. And let's have a look. I am going to set the spacing on the left hand side to let's see, let's put that on 10 for now, and then I'm going to duplicate this button a couple of times. I'm going to remove the initial button that we had, the menu 2, and I'm going to rename them to say projects. Menu 1 is going to be, the second one is going to be tasks. The third button is going to be my account. Then the other button is going to be contact. I remember, because normally I have some contact in the bottom, but I think in the future I would like to have a contact page. And then the last button, I'm going to duplicate the buttons again. I'm just going through it, so keep a sharp eye on the things I'm doing. I'm trying to explain as many of the steps I'm doing while we're at it, but sometimes I'm just clicking freely and just experimenting. In your case, feel free to experiment with the buttons, whatever works for you. And maybe you realize later on that throughout the designing of this homepage, the button designs do not really match your style. You can always go back at it. Luckily, we've saved the style as the navigation menu button, so every of these buttons will look the same. And the last one is going to be log out. There we go. So now let's give them some nice icons for pages. I think I'm gonna do the assignment. Yes, this looks nice. For projects, I'm gonna use the assignment icon. For tasks, I'm going to use the list. I believe it's the list icon. Yes, it is the list icon. For my account, I keep clicking on pages. Let's see, person. Yes, I'm going to use the person icon. For contact, I'm going to use some kind of phone, I think would be cool, or maybe an email. Let's see. Contact email, does this look good? I think this looks pretty neat. Feel free to change it, of course. Log out, I am going to use the arrow to the right, as in like, click on this and you're gonna go somewhere else, not here. So this is the first bit of setting up our layout. We have the navigation bar in the top. We have the complete section for our welcome text for our neat looking background. It's gonna look a little bit more modern than our previous homepage. And we're just gonna go there step by step. So looking at using boxes, using the alignment within boxes. Yeah, and we're gonna dive into more of this in the second video.